Last question is from a guy who we both know and think a lot of, a GCW performer who's recently found himself injured. Jordan Oliver
Oh,
says advice for how he'd recommend young wrestlers find their character or voice. Jordan's a great in ring wrestler. I don't know another way to say that, but I'm
yeah,
saying if you want to watch one of Jordan's matches, you'll be impressed. This
y'all.
is a guy who,
Talk about Jordan. Yeah,
but I appreciate that he's wanting to know, hey, he's not saying this, I'm putting words in his mouth. I got the wrestling stuff down. I know how to do all the moves. I know how to put together fun matches that people will get behind. The character and the voice, that tells me that boy Jordan, he doesn't just want star ratings. He wants to make a bunch of money in wrestling and be a big time television star. What advice would you give to somebody who feels like they've got some of the mechanics of storytelling and working a match and how to do moves and selling and all that? But man, they really need to find their voice. They really need to establish a character. What advice would you give someone who's in that spot right now?
Conrad. Do you know what jumped off the page at me when I read that? Because as for you, just audio listeners, as we're going through, and you can check this out on myworldpod.com. You can subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube, but it's a whole different experience. But I try to reread to myself these tweets, these posts. And so as Conrad's saying this, I want to make sure. Advice for how he'd recommend young wrestlers find their character, in quotes, or voice. Voice jumped off the page. How do I find my voice? And that tells me, okay, kind of going a deeper level of emotion, a deeper level of soul, if you will, because I think so many people, and this is Jordan, man, this is a tough one, and maybe we'll see each other one day and we can elaborate on this. But playing a character, I think, and nothing replaces experience and time and all that. But when I sat down, I think I'm just trying to think of a simple kind of example. I think when I sat down and they said, um, I'll never forget it, Fairfax, Virginia. We went out and worked the opening dark match. It was Sanjay's hometown, and we went out and did that, Conrad. And we kind of talked about that, and then Jay, anyway, cleaned up all this, and so I had to get cleaned up, and so we went and we're going to shoot that. And Zane, the producer, sat down. They got the lighting right. We had was noise in the background, and the found right, and they just said, "Hey, Jeff, can you give us your thoughts on you being entered into the Owen Hart Foundation tournament?" That was the question. And Conrad, I talked for 9 or 10 minutes, and I don't think anyone would say, "Hey, man, you did some good character work there. That
Right.
was that was good character work." I say that to say, Jordan, that character feels like I'm going to go play a part that's not me.
Mm.
Favorite actor in the world. I just saw a thread. Was that yesterday or a couple of days on Robin Williams in the different characters, Goodwill Hunting and Miss Doubtfire and different things. Dude, his talent was unbelievable. But I think he could get into different characters. I think wrestling is that unique set of circumstances that if you ever met Handsome Jimmy Valiant, quiet, mild mannered, never raised his voice. He's super intelligent, a good storyteller. But the Boogie Woogie Man was off the charts, but that's an extension of Handsome Jimmy. So I think character is playing somebody you're not. Voice is finding that right key where it's not too sharp, not too flat. So, how do you find your voice? And I think that voice comes from reps, from life experiences. I also think it comes from I'm going to watch my favorite three or my favorite five or my favorite seven wrestlers. And I tell these guys at seminars, don't go watch their WrestleMania match only. Go watch their entire body of work and watch them evolve. It's by osmosis, you're going to kind of find some things. So over time, you're going to find different tidbits from different characters, and you're going to start making it your own. Like, I don't know how many times I stood at the monitor backstage at WMC TV when I knew a Lawler segment was coming up and he was going to blister and he's going to do a promo. And a lot of guys were in the same room and they're not even watching it. And I'm not saying disrespect on this, but man, I wanted to know, damn, Lawler can talk his ass off. But more than that, he's not yelling and screaming. He kind of painted a picture on what he's going to do to this opponent, and Austin Idol. And then, I mean, you can just look at all the different great promo guys through the years. So finding your voice, Jordan, I commend you already for looking at it that way. You got to find your voice, and you got to figure out that slice of your real personality that makes you different, that makes you unique, that, and again, I'm going to dumb it down to me, so many parts of it. You either got to be likable or not. I mean, you need to be, if you're a heel, you really need to be a worthless piece of crap that the people just don't care for. I mean, I know that sounds so silly, but it's if you don't believe it, I can assure you your audience won't. So you got to have to find your voice is the most important thing. You're on the right track. I'll say that. Find your voice. I don't know what it is, but it's there. You just got to have to keep getting your reps in, and you'll figure it out. And social media can be your best friend.
We've heard Stone Cold before do interviews where he said that the Stone Cold character was really him, just with the volume turned way up. Would you agree with that? You find your real character, just look within and turn the volume way up and just exaggerate it.
We could look at Randy Savage's career.
Yes.
I mean, we could kind of go all the way down. There's numerous examples of that, but yes, without question.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.